NACI advises jurisdictions to adjust the age threshold for use of AstraZeneca vaccine based on this local epidemiology. The optimal use of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine in our immunization programs across the country will also vary based on current and expected vaccine supply and the logistical considerations that we are faced with.
With the third wave of COVID rising, there's an urgent need to get more Canadians vaccinated, as you know. As of Friday, people over the age of 30 are now eligible to get the AstraZeneca vaccine. That happened after the National Advisory Committee on Immunization changed its guidance from 50 and up to 30 and up. But how clear was the recommendation? After all, NACI says that people 30 and up can take it, quote, if the individual does not wish to wait for an mRNA vaccine and the benefits outweigh the risk. What does that actually mean? With vaccine hesitancy a real concern, is this an admission that Canadians should prefer one vaccine over another? Let's find out. Joining me now is the chair of the National Advisory Committee on Immunization, Dr. Quach. Dr. Quach, now that NACI has lowered the age of eligibility for AstraZeneca to 30 and up, but it came with a caveat. Health officials have repeatedly said the best vaccine is the first one you're offered, but in your recommendations it said if you're 30 and up, you can take AstraZeneca, quote, if the individual does not want to wait for an mRNA vaccine, that's Pfizer or Moderna, and the benefits outweigh the risk. What does that mean? Aren't we just supposed to take the first one available? I'm trying to translate that. What does it mean?
Yeah, what it means is we really want this to be an informed consent process because these clots are not benign. And so it's really all about the perception of risk from the individual. If you're in an area where there's tons of COVID and everybody's going to the ICU, to me it's easy. You take the first vaccine that comes up. But for somebody who would live in an area where there's no COVID, where that person never leaves home, and that person knows that based on their age group or priorities, they would have access to an mRNA vaccine next week, I think it's reasonable for them to wait. So it's not to say, wait for 4 months. Right. We know that based on the supplies of mRNA vaccines that are expected in Canada, the wait time is somewhere between 1 and 7 weeks, depending on what age band you're in.
But it seems now that you've kind of said there's now two classes of vaccines. If you're desperate, take AstraZeneca, by the way, the one I got. But you know what? If you can't get, but only take it if you can't get an mRNA, the better ones. Are you contributing to vaccine hesitancy here? Because we got a third wave, we got the variants. Is that a mixed message that could be dangerous?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but from the get-go, NACI, the committee had said that they were putting a preferential recommendation on the mRNA because in terms of efficacy, they were better for all age groups and there were no safety signals. So we're continuing to say what we said from the beginning, which is at this point in time, mRNA is preferential. If you look at other countries, a lot of people have done the same. Australia has put a preferential recommendation on mRNA. I think we have to also be transparent. When I look at Canadians, I think they're intelligent and they need to know what we know. So this is our evaluation. I understand. Yes.
But I just worry, again, there's a lot of people saying,
understand.
Now I heard Dr. Quach say this is preferential. This is better. You know what? I'm not getting, even though the third wave is hitting me, I've heard people say this, I'm going to wait for the Pfizer because I've heard it's the better one. It's preferential. It's lower risk. And then the doctors are saying, no, look at the UK. Take whatever you can get right now. I'm deeply concerned about the mixed messaging here.
I understand. And that's why we're saying, when it's raging out there, you have much more benefit by getting any vaccine now than waiting. That's why you need to look at the epidemiology in your community. As I said, if I was in an area, a hotspot area, where there's transmission and ICU are filling up, then of course all the benefits are there to take whatever vaccine comes first. That's clear. But the way we did our risk analysis was based on this wait time between the AstraZeneca and the mRNA vaccine.
Okay, so it's a third wave. If you can get a vaccine, take it. But very interesting and frankly complicated, though. Dr. Quach, I always appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.